You have to understand that your business, your life, your time, your talents, your treasure, it doesn't belong to you anyway. Welcome to another episode of Journey to Mastery. I am your host, LZ, and I got a treat for you. Today, we're going to be talking about stewardship. Now, we're going through the brand pillars of the Crown logo. Okay, so we've talked about authority, we've talked about dominion. Today, we're going to talk about stewardship. That's what the crown represents. The flame represents passion, refinement, and conviction. And we're going to do an episode about those as well. But today, I want to focus your attention on stewardship. Stewardship is one of those things that kind of flies under the radar for a lot of people because we understand what authority means, we understand what dominion means, but what is stewardship really? The first thing I want to share with you is that you have to understand that your business, your life, your time, your talents, your treasure, it doesn't belong to you anyway. That's the first thing you got to understand is it does not belong to you in the first place. That's why we call it stewardship. You are stewarding whatever your time, you're stewarding your business, you're stewarding your spouse, your marriage, you're stewarding your children, you're borrowing them until it's time for you to not be in charge of that anymore. So I think that's the first thing that we have to understand is that this whole thing, right? We are on God's time. We are on God's time. And when you realize that, number one, you start to treat it a little bit different, or maybe a lot different. And number two, your perspective has to shift. Because if it doesn't belong to me anyway, I really want to get a return on the investment. And I really want God to be proud of what I've done with what He's given me. Okay, so we're talking about stewardship as it relates to your business, right? We're Christian business owners. The second thing that we have to understand is that it's temporary. Whatever situation that you're in, whether that's personally or in your business, is temporary. And that cuts both ways. So if you're on the mountaintop, understand that that is temporary. So how you steward your business on the mountaintop says a lot about who you are. Okay, whether you forget who you are, forget who helped you get to where you are, and you become prideful and arrogant and ego begins to take over, or if you become humble, gracious, you have gratitude, and you continually share the spotlight, etc. So, how you steward your gift or your business on the mountaintop says a lot about who you are. Conversely, how you steward it on in the valley also tells a lot about who you are, what was on the inside of you in the first place. In fact, I would say that even more so when you're in the valley, it's going to bring out who you truly are. It's easy to be kind when you have everything you need. It's easy to be kind when you're not hungry, when your bills are on time and everything goes well. You can't miss. Every launch goes well. Mortgage is paid and the kids, like it's easy to be kind when everything is fine. Hey, that kind of rhymes. But it's more difficult when things aren't okay at home. Things aren't going well in the marriage. Your kids are acting crazy, even though you raised them right. You know, the business deal is falling through. And it's easy, again, to get frustrated, to get disenfranchised, to start comparing your business to other people, to start comparing your journey to other people's and trying and asking the question, well, God, I'm doing everything I know how to do. Why isn't my business flourishing like their business? And so you have to get out of that space of comparison when you're in the valley. Okay. The other thing I'll share with you is that when you're faithful over little, God will bless you with more. We know that in Luke 16:10, God talks about that if you're faithful over little things, over the little things, then I'll bless you with greater things. And I happen to believe that God is meticulous. God pays attention to detail. So even the finest detail, like if you're faithful over, if I say that I'm going to film an episode every single Monday, I ought to film an episode every single Monday. And every time I film an episode, it ought to be the best episode possible that I can do with the skills and the knowledge that I have in that time at that time. every single time, consistently, every single week. And if I do that, that's 52 episodes at least. And sometimes it'll be more than that if I'm efficient with my time and in my preparation. So God cares about the details. So as we are stewarding over our business and our ministry in the marketplace, we have to be as focused on the details as God is. And the little things matter. Not that you should agonize over them, but they matter. And they matter to God, so they should also matter to you. Influence without stewardship becomes ego. Talked about this a little bit before. When you're on the mountaintop, it's really, really easy to become prideful, to forget where you came from, to forget the people who helped you get there, to forget that God is the one that was with you when you were in the valley. But now that you're on the mountaintop, all he gets is a speech or a shout out in your speech, win that award. It's really, really easy to lose track and lose focus when you're on the mountaintop. Stewardship is about being intentional about not forgetting that we are on borrowed time and God is the author and the finisher of our ministry in the marketplace. Stewardship cannot exist without authority, but authority can absolutely corrupt stewardship. Again, this is what we've been talking about. You have to watch your ego. You have to not get prideful. You have to remain humble. It's okay to be confident, but it's a really fine line, but really watch that you're staying humble and close to God in prayer and keeping people around you in your circle that are going to keep you focused and intentional. 3 ways that you can steward your ministry. Number 1, steward your decisions. All of your decisions need to be made in alignment with and in intention with what God wants in this season of your life. And the way that you stay in tune with that is a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual rhythm of prayer, of fasting, of seeking, of questioning, of alignment, making sure that the decisions that you're making are in alignment with what God wants in that season. Number 2, steward your influence. Now, we could probably do an entire podcast just on influence. Influence is important. If you look in the world, people that have influence, they have power. They can shout out a product, everybody will go buy it. They can say, hey, let's go do this thing, and people follow them. God gives you influence so that you can steward it for the kingdom, right? So whether it's a product, whether it's a service, whether it's a company outing, wherever you find yourself with influence, steward it with integrity and steward it with grace. And lastly, steward your growth. Like we've been saying, it's really easy to be humble when you don't have anything. But as God increases you, as God increases your influence, as God increases your authority, as God increases your dominion, as God increases your marketplace ministry, make sure that you steward that growth with humility, with grace, and with meekness. Okay, so here's the plan. I want you to take 5 to 10 minutes and I want you to write down 3 things, 3 areas that you are stewarding in this season of your life. Okay, this could be family, this could be work, ministry, this could be volunteer, or this can be your business. I want you to write down 3 areas that you're currently stewarding. And I want you to ask yourself this question: am I stewarding these areas correctly? Will God be proud of it? And if the answer is no, I want you to ask the next question, why not? And if you want to go deeper, I want you to ask yourself, how do I get this back in alignment? Okay. So I want you to do that for all 3 areas. Okay. So if you know any other entrepreneurs, faith-driven entrepreneurs that would get value from this content, listen, please, please, please forward it to them and join the Journey feed if you haven't already. It's an awesome weekly formation that gets you in the rhythm, helps you get into alignment, and helps you to grow God's way. So again, thank you so much for your time and attention, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, can I get a oh yeah, can I get a